Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Zach from Zach's Soapbox. Welcome back for another video. This is the video for the week of Friday, July 4th, 2025. Happy Independence Day to all my fellow Americans out there. Americans gonna Americate. I'll probably Americate too in some way. Maybe have a beer or something. Who knows? Have a little something special for dinner. Maybe take myself out to eat. But anyways, Americans gonna Americate on 4th of July. Happy birthday, America. And all that stuff. Anyway, I was gonna do a video about the founding fathers and like the American Revolution, but you know what? I'm like, nah, forget it. More pressing on my mind is this video. If you don't want to listen to it, I'm gonna tell you right now. It's just about me kind of bitching and venting. And before one of you go, well, Zachary, you're a Satanist and everything. You know, right there's my sigil of Baphomet. Why are you bitching about something you need not complain about? What are you doing to change, your situation and change whatever you're bitching about? And the answer is, I'm trying to do stuff, but there's only so much I can actually do. Let me explain. When I moved out here 5 years ago, I had high hopes. I had hopes that I could actually get a job and that I would be able to get out and meet people and maybe have a girlfriend and get out here. I moved out here to live life because I know it's more handicap accessible, more wheelchair accessible. Like they have handicap taxis here. All the buses have the curb cut out. All the curbs have the curb cut out. All the buses have the handicap lift at the corner. Here's the thing: the bus at the corner could be a mile and a half apart. Today it was 110 degrees today in Vegas, the day I'm recording this, which is a few weeks in advance, and things like that. Now I'm in a metal wheelchair, and it's a half mile to the bus stop and a half mile back. And yes, I have a power chair, but 110 degree heat's 110 degree heat. And I knew all that before. Oh, Zachary, you knew it was hot in Vegas before you ever moved there. You used to come out here in July for your birthday. Yeah, that's true. But until you live in it from May till October, you don't know what that's like. Because even at night it doesn't cool down, because all you do is feel the heat that is radiating off the blacktop and the sidewalks and stuff like that from the pavement and stuff. And it really doesn't even cool down that much at night. Even now, we're still like 85 for an overnight low. So, when dawn starts at 5:30 in the morning, it's already 85, 87 degrees, and it only gets hotter from there. But I'm not really complaining about the heat. There's some things I wish I would have known before I moved to Vegas. I wish I would have known that, like, I wasn't going to qualify for this state's Medicaid. Now, I tried to look into that before I moved here. And, according to what I read, I probably would have been able to qualify. Then I get out here and I realize I get too much Social Security to qualify for this state's Medicaid. So like with my new wheelchair, I have a 20% copay. 20% is not $20. 20% in this case is somewhere between $2,000 and $3,000 minimum. You'd think, well, guy on Social Security, it's probably so hard to save $2,000. Fuck, that was the easy part. What's been the hard part is getting a doctor that knows how to write a prescription properly. I've had to go halfway across town to my doctor. The last time I went up to my doctor back in May for the wheelchair prescription, and she's going, oh, so sorry, this has been going on since October of last year. I says, yeah. And they finally acted like they knew what they were doing, but they didn't, because like 3 days later, my wheelchair guy calls and goes, they sent over the exact same fucking prescription they had last time. And so this has been going on for a year, so much so that you kind of give up on stuff, and you kind of put stuff in the back of your mind because you don't want to freak out. You don't want to. It's bad enough that I already have to take trazodone at night to sleep, which I never had trouble with before. Things like that. I got to take pills at night to sleep now, so I never had the trouble before. Vegas has its perks. Like today, I got fresh groceries and I got fresh fruit, fresh milk, fresh chicken, things like that. Whereas back east, I had to eat out of cans a lot, so I'm eating a lot of tuna fish, a lot of Hormel chili, Dente Moore beef stew, etc., etc. To where here, like certainly my diet and everything is better. Being able to get out and go to the movies once a week, while it might not sound like much, at least it's something. I mean, back home, you couldn't even go see a movie if you wanted to. So, but one thing about back home is I had competent doctors. I had full medical coverage. My medical really didn't cost me anything out of pocket. Maybe I had paid $1 or $2 for a copay for medicine. Whereas out here for that trazodone I take, it's like $5 a month. But then I have to have it delivered and through the mail, so the postage is $6. So my $4.90 medication becomes $10.39 with a postage and stuff. Hardly a burden, but it's just the point. I don't know, man. I moved out here thinking I was going to meet people, but what you learn is Vegas is not really a place where you meet people. Vegas is not really a place. And then because, like I said kind of before, I don't really drink heavily and I don't smoke marijuana daily. So I have nothing in common with people where that's their main pastime. And sometimes I just feel like I'm at a dead end because I can't move home, because I really don't have much family to really speak of. And before you can see this and go, well, Zachary, this is Aunt so-and-so or Uncle so-and-so, and we do love you. Well, I'm not saying you don't love me, but the truth is, are you going to be there? And the answer is no. You have too much turmoil and too much shit going on in your own fucking lives to really be helping me. I lived in Reynolds for 12 years, and you told me that living 7 miles away from some of you was too fucking far out. So that says, and that shows how high of a priority I am to any of you in all your fucking lives. So you have no family, nothing to fall back on, and while this is not really the greatest of situations, what I've been trying to do is make the most of this. And what I've tried to do is kind of take this situation and look at the good side and look at the positive, because nobody wants to hear the negative. When I talk about the negative, nobody wants to hear it, and nobody's listening. And one of the stupidest things people used to say when I first moved here was, well, and I'm going, oh, I don't know if this is going to work out. They're going, oh, well, trouble adjusting, just like when you move to Reynolds from Mercer out at Grandma's. Dude, moving from Mercer to Reynolds is nothing like moving from Reynolds to Las Vegas. Nothing like it. Okay, don't give me that shit. But it just oftentimes feels like a dead end. I'm not really a hardcore gambler. I might throw a 20 in a slot here and there, but I haven't probably put a 20 in a slot out here in probably 2 years. It's just, I feel stuck, and the best thing for me to do is keep to myself. A neighbor of mine just died. I kind of built a rapport with the guy a little bit. He was a bit of a recluse, but one of the people he talked to was me. So then when he passed away, his family actually gave me permission to take his scooter and go in there and look for DVDs or anything I wanted and be able to take it out of there. So I took some DVDs. I don't really have room for a scooter because I have my own power chair, and then I have a push wheelchair, a manual, that I keep in my bathroom. In the event that I do meet somebody out here or do need to go somewhere and can't take my power chair, I have a manual wheelchair I can use because it folds up in the car and go in the car and stuff. That sort of thing. But so every time you get kind of close to somebody or build a rapport, they die. A few months ago, the lady that invited me last year to Christmas dinner, she invited me over. I pigged out. We chatted. We had a good time. Made burp and fart jokes, watched TV, stuff like that. And then, back in April, her husband died, and that's mainly the income they were living on. So she informed me that she'll probably have to move by the end of the year. So here's somebody you build a rapport with. They're going to have to move, or somebody passes away. But I've been out here 5 years. I'm not even getting fucking laid. And so what am I really getting out of this? It's been a learning experience. It's been a growing experience. I'll give it that. But at the same time, I can't keep moving every time I run into trouble. And back home, there's nothing back there. And now I've been out here 5 years. So I lived 12 years in Reynolds and nobody really went out there. And then I've been out here 5 years. So really, for a lot of my family, I haven't interacted with them in almost 17, 18 years now. So what family? And really, to be honest, post 1993, nobody gets together for Christmas because my grandfather passed away in 93, and nobody fucking talks to anybody. I'm old enough to remember that when I was growing up, I knew all my cousins. I knew my cousin Josh, my cousin David, my cousin Timmy, my cousin Teresa, my cousin, and stuff like that. Anymore, you don't. You know what I mean? Um, I don't know, like the generation after mine. I don't know, say my cousin David's kids or my cousin, even my cousin Josh and his kids. I haven't seen them in years, well over a decade, so I don't know them anymore. So there's no family to know, there's nowhere to go. As bad as this is, living next to a fucking drug house and a fucking, this is probably as bad as it's gonna get. If I was to, and then you say to me, well, Zachary, why don't you just move? Well, every fucking place in Las Vegas is owned by the people that own this place, and my door in and out of my building's been broken for months, so we all prop it open so we don't get locked out of our own fucking building. Okay? And then like the maintenance man here, you got to tell him things 3 and 4 times before it ever gets done. Like my toilet, even when I got my new toilet put in like last month, even my plumber guy goes, your maintenance people should have noticed that this toilet was off and this should have been fixed a long time ago. The idea that I'm the third person to be doing this job is just fucking ridiculous. Even the plumber said that to me, stuff like that. And then my maintenance man goes, well, your toilet doesn't get serviced or cleaned like it should. I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck? My toilet bowl could be the dirtiest toilet bowl in the world. It has nothing to do with it being off kilter or like kind of off balance to where it rocks. You could have a dirty toilet bowl. It has nothing to do with your toilet rocking when you sit your ass on it. It's fucking stupid. But somebody actually tried to tell me that. But no, sometimes I often wonder if this was really fucking worth it. I'm not as dark and as hopeless as I once was. I mean, I was making plans as to how I was going to end my life and everything. That was, when I first got here, within that first, say, 15 months. And I'm glad I've made it through there, and I'm not in that dark of a place, but I just feel like because I have no family to fall back on, and this isn't great, but it could be worse. And some of these places I went to, like I went to every place, I put an application in it. Before you get me, well, you moved out to Vegas for bright lights and didn't put any thought into this bullshit. I spent almost 10 years planning this move to Vegas. I come out here twice looking at places. I physically went to every fucking place I put an application in at. Some of these are in better places than others. Like, this isn't so bad. If I was to move from here, I lose the Sam's Town Casino, which gives me access to an ATM machine for cash, access to quarters for the laundromat or the casino cage, access to like restaurants and a movie theater. If I was to move, say, somewhere else, like say there's a place called Cynthia Brown out in fucking Henderson, the further out you are, the longer the bus rides. You know what I mean? Like, it already takes me an hour and a half on a good day, one way, to get to my doctor, my primary, stuff like that. The other day, my doctor wanted to do like a sleep study, but I'm like, can you mail the stuff so I can, oh, you do it at home. Okay, can you mail the stuff? Well, no, they want me to go up and get it. So they want me to call the bus, get on the schedule, ride the bus up to the fucking sleep study place, pick up the stuff, bring it home for a night, use it, and then take it back up there and stuff like that. And you don't want to dare ask your neighbors, because then for the rest of your fucking life, it'll be that time that they helped you out. So like even with this medication for sleeping, that's all it is. It's just a sleeping pill. It's not like for blood pressure or my heart or nothing like that. All right. It's just a fucking sleeping pill because I need it to sleep or I can't relax. But so they want to do this sleep study, but because I don't want to take 6 hours out of my fucking day to go pick this stuff up, to bring it home for you, to use it for one night and then take it back the next day for another 6-hour day in 110-degree heat. We're under a fucking heat advisory out here in Vegas right now. So I told him to cancel it out and I wasn't going to do it. Stuff like that. But I think a lot of times it's just the stress. I've never felt so stressful and so uncomfortable. I've tried to make the most of this. and I'm able to. I've learned to kind of carve out my little niche and little existence, but I'm tired of just existing. I moved out here to fucking live, not just survive. And because I'm not a drinker, because I'm not a smoker or a gambler, you feel like how sad that you feel like Vegas isn't for you because you don't have those inclinations for certain vices. How fucking sad. I don't know, but I'm just venting today. Um, I hope that's okay. I mean, it's a cathartic thing. It helps, I guess. But you know, and then what I worry about too is like that. Say that guy that died and his scooter's still in there. I don't want somebody to take that and sell it. I know when a woman had a stroke and they had to put her in a home and she had to move from here, somebody took her scooter and sold it to somebody and kept the money. I don't want that to happen with this guy's stuff. So I almost want to go get this guy's scooter and put it in my apartment, but with my dumbbells in here, my cardio machine, my other two wheelchairs that are mine that I use, what am I going to do with this big old scooter? You know what I mean? And then not to mention, like all the time I've been here, I'm the only one that kind of befriended the guy and had his phone number to fucking tell him anything. Or I used to keep an eye on his packages. Hey man, hope you're doing okay. You got a package outside your door. You know, things like that. Or like if he was going out to go get beer or something, and he'd pull up, and I'd be like, hey, Todd, how you doing? And talk to him for 5 minutes. Or he invited me over for 8 times. We had a couple beers. He drank Bud Light, and we'd talk music, like 80s metal, like Ozzy, Whitesnake, Motley Crue, Cinderella, that sort of stuff. He was also a gearhead and liked like cars and building cars and hot rods and stuff like that. I don't know that much about that stuff, but we talked, like when I talked to him, we talked music, that sort of thing. So I'd hate to see somebody in here making money off of him and making money off of his stuff when nobody even had like really the gumption to knock on his door and say hello, dude, Now granted, he was a bit reclusive, and the only time you saw him was to go get beer or something like that, or go to the doctor's, or take out his trash, which was usually full of cans from the beer. But neither here nor there, it doesn't matter. But I don't want to see somebody profiting off this dude when nobody even had the common courtesy to befriend him a little bit, He told me one of the first conversations he had was in here was somebody was shitty with him about his ponytail and told me he needs to get that shit cut off and stuff like that. So, I kind of feel bad that somebody's gonna, people are gonna be vultures and take stuff, I got permission from the family to enter the apartment and take what I, wanted. I was welcome to take, like, the scooter, even if I needed it or wanted it. So I took some DVDs for some movies out of there, things like that. But I don't know. So just kind of bitching and venting. But okay, we're coming up on 20 minutes, guys. You listened to me long enough. My hat's say Ushanka. Anyway, man, and all right, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.